Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
And good morning, Adam Lang.
Good morning, Michael.
All right, in just 5 minutes, we are each going to put forward a big international story of the year. There's been some big ones to choose from. Sean, would you like to start?
I will. On October 7, Hamas terrorists invaded Israel, taking 240 hostages and killing 1,200 people. It was unprovoked and unexpected, taking Israeli Defense Forces and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by surprise. The response was quick and brutal, with Israel attacking parts of Gaza. According to the Health Ministry in Gaza, which is run by Hamas, more than 19,400 Palestinians have been killed so far and 52,000 injured. The United Nations estimates that millions of people in the area are now displaced. It's been a brutal 2.5 months. There have been calls for the United Nations, supported by more than 100 countries, for an immediate ceasefire. 2 countries who have voted against a ceasefire are Israel, not surprisingly, and the all-important US. It has had implications for Benjamin Netanyahu, obviously, and for Joe Biden. It's had implications for the relationship between the superpowers, the US, China, as well as Russia. It's triggered violent and sometimes anti-Semitic protests in Australia and around the world. As we approach the new year, the outcome of the war in the Middle East is still a great unknown in the geopolitical landscape. We can only hope that things improve. Adam, what's your biggest international story for the year?
Well, Sean, for me, this year, China continued to strengthen ties with Pacific Island nations through diplomatic, economic and military initiatives, and Australia's historic position in the region is being contested. The shift in regional power dynamics is crucial for Australia, given the strategic value of the Pacific Islands for maritime routes and our national security. Balancing our alliance with the United States and economic relations with China, Australia has to navigate a complex diplomatic landscape. And in response, we are intensifying our engagement, emphasising a free and open Indo-Pacific and investing in regional infrastructure and diplomatic relations. The evolving scenario underscores our need to adapt our regional strategies, balancing our changing geopolitical reality with national interests and promoting stability through multilateral cooperation. It is delicate, and Sean, your story just underlines, on top of the Ukraine, how much the Hamas and Israel conflict is affecting this whole international situation.
Yeah, that is a big story. Look, for me, it's almost a little hard to believe, don't you think, that we are on the verge now of entering 2024, an election year in the United States, and right up until last week, and I suspect a few still are continuing to say this now, that we're talking about the likely Republican nominee being Donald Trump, because he had a somewhat unprecedented 2023. I say unprecedented because in the 234 years of modern US history, no American president, sitting or former, had ever been indicted on criminal charges. That changed with Trump, who was charged in not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 separate criminal cases across the US. In Washington, 4 counts relating to alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. In Georgia, 13 counts for election interference, allegedly, in that state. 34 felony counts in New York over alleged hush money payments to a porn star. And in Florida, 40 counts for allegedly keeping classified documents after he left office and impeding the government's efforts to retrieve them. But even with all that, his campaign officials were expecting him to clinch the Republican nomination for the presidential race in the next few months to take on Joe Biden, who apparently wouldn't run for a second term if not for Trump. Now, there was a late development last week with Colorado's Supreme Court ruling Trump was ineligible to run because of that insurrection issue. Now, that's going to the US Supreme Court, and who knows what will happen there. But broadly, it has been an extraordinary year in US politics. US House of Representatives Speaker Kevin McCarthy became the first speaker in history to be voted out of the top job after members of his own Republican Party sided with the Democrats to dump him. That was over his support for a bill that avoided a US government shutdown. Crazy, but a mere blip compared to the complete circus that lies ahead of us in an election year, starting with a Supreme Court appeal and going all the way through to a presidential election campaign. Cue the drama in a way that only the US and really only Donald Trump can do.
Amazing, that man. Amazing US politics, I would say. But all 3 stories worthy of the international stories of the year.
Yeah, I think they are all very, very significant. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, Michael.
And thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Michael.
And that's it for today. Make sure you hit follow on the podcast. I'm Michael Thompson, and this is the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed.